Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to Lira and Law. Thank you very much for joining me for our usual Thursday get together between 7:30 and usually 8:30 p.m. on a Thursday. I'm broadcasting live, of course, from London, England. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simon Kabatbat of Douglas Simon Solicitors. I am a solicitor of many years post-qualification experience. Actually, just on that, I just before we came on live nga, I looked myself up on the Solicitors Regulatory Authority website, the SRA website, and I know that in over the last few years, actually, I've always said, nearly 33 years post-qualification experience. In fact, I am nearly 34 years post-qualification experience. It beggars belief that I missed a year. I suppose it's a bit like getting old, no? You kind of lose a year here, a year there. Nga. But anyway, I looked myself up on the SRA, and from next week, which is the 17th of February, I had to note it down so I don't forget. Nga. From the 17th of February, I will have been qualified 34 years. I don't know where the time's gone. So I qualified on the 17th of February, 1992. Astonishing. I can't even believe I'm saying that. You know? So I have, so from next week, I will have clocked up 34 years post-qualification experience, which in addition to 4 years total studying, and of course the 2 years in those days, articles, nowadays called to become a trainee solicitor. So that's an additional 6 years in law. So from next week, that is the 17th of Feb, I will have been in law 40 years. And still having a great time. I am passionate about law, as I hope it comes across now, and I hope that our weekly sessions like tonight is helpful to you, and I hope that you find it our topic now interesting. Speaking of our topic today is a big one. I mean, it's usually big topics, but it is to do with changes to indefinite leave to remain. There are, sometimes may mga sessions that I would say are probably potentially more important, for want of a better word, than other sessions. This is one of the important ones. So, and this one also that concerns a lot of people. As many of you would know, there have been changes or proposed changes to immigration law, specifically to do, many changes but also to do with indefinite leave to remain, so yung settlement and at the time, that was back in May last year, concerns were expressed about people who said, okay, nandito ako ngayon, I would be entitled to apply for indefinite leave to remain next year. Maabutan ba ako? Ano bang mangyayari? And so this is another step towards what is likely to happen. And I have this as a topic because as of midnight tonight, the 12th of February, 2026, the consultation time for the changes to immigration that was published back in May, in the white paper, the consultation time will end at midnight tonight. So ibig sabihin, they will then, the Home Office will look at it, or the government will look at it. They will look at what they proposed in the way of changes. They will take into account, or hopefully they will take into account any comments that have been put forward by individuals, by bodies, any concerns that may have been raised. So the consultation period ends tonight at midnight. Okay? So from tomorrow, they will start gathering out information, and then they think that from about March, if not April, the changes, whatever they may be, will come into play. No? So yun ang pag-uusapan po natin ngayon, and but because there are this a lot of changes are proposed to various provisions, immigration rules nga. We're going to concentrate nga tonight on the proposed changes to indefinite leave to remain. So kung meron kayong makilala, mag-indefinite na nga sila, o they think they're worried about the indefinite leave to remain settlement status nga, doesn't matter if they're here on skilled work route, or employment route, or spousal route, or students nga, share this program with them, because it may be that it hopefully will make them feel a bit better, or if they're concerned nga, at least they can see, okay, what's the worst case scenario. So titingnan po natin nga ngayon is what is what are the rules presently to do with indefinite leave to remain for the different categories. So skilled worker, global talent, family life, long residence. So all of so those categories, titignan nga natin, what do you need to show in order to be able to apply and succeed with your application for indefinite leave to remain? That I'm talking about the time scale, rather than other things. Because as you know, if you're applying to stay in the UK for indefinitely as a spouse, meron kayong mga conditions. But we're going to concentrate on the time that you need to show, the period of time you need to show in order to qualify for settlement nga. Yun ang una. But of course, we're not going to stop there. We're also going to look at what is proposed by the government, and this is on the Home Office website. What's proposed by the government, the changes proposed now by the government. So what would happen, say, if you are here nga under the skilled work route and the change comes into play? What additional, if any, time that's going to be imposed? If you're here on a spousal route, what additional time may be imposed? Or if you're here, or in some cases, it's actually less time than the 5 years usual time that you need to be able to show, because it's not always 5 years, it can be sometimes more than that. So it's this will hopefully, at least as a starting point, anong kailangan yung pakita. Now, we're also going to talk about transitional provisions. So hindi nga lang mga taong papasok nga dito, but also the people who are already here, which probably is the most worried, because they're already here. Actually, a few weeks ago, meron tayong viewers sabi niya, well, what's the point? Maybe better to look at other places, because she felt unwelcomed because of these proposed changes. So titingnan po natin ngayon. So as I said, this is quite a big topic, and because the consultation ends tonight at midnight, I thought it would be good to discuss nga, what are the current rules, what are the proposed changes nga, and then discuss with you, what happens now, what's the next step. So it's a big one. Now, of course, on top of that, meron tayong mga questions. Again, great questions, and thank you very much. We will deal with those, of course. But as I say, itong topic po natin ngayon, it's earned settlement. That's really what they call it. Consultation. Yeah, that's as you see on the screen. Consultation to indefinite leave to remain changes ends today, 12th of February. What are the proposed changes? So if you're here, you're looking at indefinite leave to remain sometime in the future. Is it likely to be changed? Yung pag-uusapan po natin ngayon. So it's a big topic, and share this link nga to friends, family who you think may be affected by the changes. And frankly, I hope a whole load of people will probably be affected. So this is something we will keep monitoring, obviously, for our program, because we want to ensure that people are up to date. And dami din mga chismis, no? No, wala na, no? It's wala nang indefinite, hindi na kayo magiging indefinite dito. So I've heard that also. That's not the case. But there certainly are changes. And as I say, with the few people, it's a good change, because rather than 5 years, it could be less. So I'm going to also take you through, for want of a better word, their formula. No, how are they going to apply it? So it's going to be going to be an interesting topic. Well, it is an interesting topic. It's something also that I've been working on for a little while now. So titingnan nga natin. And I'm also going to put on you will also see, I'll take you through 3 tables. No, the now, what attributes could lessen, the baseline, and what attributes could increase the baseline. The baseline being 10 years. Okay, so it's a big topic. Now, anyway, so we're going to take a quick break. Saglit nga lang po. And then we're going to launch into our topic. So I hope that you'll be able to join me shortly. Sandali lang po. Okay? Saglit lang. Welcome back. Welcome back to Lira in Law. My age is showing. I can't. I'm getting my words all mixed up. But anyway, my apologies. So, welcome to Lira in Law. Topic po natin ngayon, without further ado, is yung consultation re-indefinite leave to remain changes ends today at midnight, 12th of February. And so what are the proposed changes? It's a big topic. So sharing is caring, and certainly this is one that may well be very interesting to an awful lot of people. So now, unang-una nga, route to indefinite leave to remain. So I think in order to make sense of the proposed changes, it's probably good to see, well, what are the current rules, and then how is that going to change? Okay. Now, and if you want to really read up on this, it's go on the Home Office website. I'll see if I try and remember to post the link, and therein are these proposed changes, and a lot more, in fact. But we're focusing on the indefinite leave to remain, changes to indefinite leave to remain, settlement status in the UK. So kung nandito nga kayo, nag-aalala kayo, makakakuha pa rin ba kayo ng indefinite leave to remain? Yung pamilya nyo nga, o papasok pa nga lang kayo dito, anong mangyayari pagka nandito na kayo on a spouse visa. So this is the first, well, I suppose the second step, because the first step was they published nga in May the white paper. So therein sabi na, okay, these are the things what we're gonna do. This is a bit more, no? So they're actually saying, okay, how is this going to work? And in publishing this, they have invited people to make their views known. And the consultation, as I've said, is ending today at midnight. So we're going to look at that. So let me take you through the table. No, I prepared 3, and this is very much from the Home Office website. No? So let me take you through the first table. This I've colored the top in red. This is the route to ILR. My short, obviously, for indefinite leave to remain. Let me just see if I can bring it up again. Sorry, it's gone. Okay, yeah. Okay. So route to indefinite leave to remain as of today's date. Okay, as of today's date. Yung table 1 nga, no? So let me just take you through some of the categories nga doon. Now, So you'll see presently the routes are skilled worker, no? Kung nandito kayo as a, let's say as a carer, no? Or a nurse or a teacher, normally it's 5 years. Kailangan pakita. So I've said there, time in the UK prior to settlement in years 5. No? This is from the Home Office website. Continued residence, yes. So I put X where you need to satisfy that factor, no? Or rather the Home Office did. So, so you need to be able to show continued residence in the United Kingdom, a minimum of 5 years, skilled worker nga. Once you've satisfied that, normally, you can then apply for indefinite leave to remain. Yun ang una, okay? So I've listed there various categories. You know, Tier 2, Minister of Religion, representative of an overseas business, UK ancestry, all of those things. No? Global talent, as you can see there, 3 to 5 years. Nga. 3 could be as little as 3 years. It could be as much as 5 years. So all of those things. Private life, no, I have a few of those. Adult, 10 years ang kailangan pakita. Family life, partner or parent, depending on, of course, if you had leave to remain to begin with, to apply nga, it's anything between 5 years to 10 years. So if you enter the United Kingdom as a spouse, for example, normally it's 5 years, which is divided up in two tranches of 2.5 years. No. So there's also the long residence requirement, which is private life. Again, I have a few of those. You need to be able to show a continuous leave to remain, a totaling to 10 years. No? And for these types of applications nga, under the long residence, pwede nyo idugtong nga. No? So kung pumasok kayo dito as skilled worker, tapos pinalitan nyo as a spouse, tapos pinalitan nyo something else, kung ang total nga under the long residence is 10 years, you could usually apply for indefinite leave to remain when you reach 10 years. Now, there's the discretionary leave to remain. You don't have many of those nowadays, but still that's 10 years. Now, victims of domestic abuse, you can apply immediately. If you're able to show that, then you get indefinite leave to remain immediately. Okay. Again, same for bereaved parents, for example. Children of settled parents, UK born, resided for 7 years, immediate or 7 years. So let me give you an example. So all those things at the moment, all those categories at the moment, the government have said we're looking to change them, but with some, no change really. Even though the basis, no, the baseline rather for indefinite leave to remain will change, but really, practically speaking, there's no real change. With some, actually, it's advantageous, especially those who are earning more money. Now, at the same time, for some, it is going to be massively changed, but for the worse. We're going to go through that as well. That will be table 3. So let me take you through table 2. Okay? So nakita nyo na, itong patas nga ngayon. Yun, no? Now, let me take you through table 2. So that I've marked in green. Now, the proposed changes to indefinite leave to remain baseline, so the starting point is 10 years, okay? But this can be adjusted, basically, and those are my words rather than the Home Office, depending on certain attributes. So pwedeng tumaas, pwedeng bumaba. Baseline, though, is 10 years. Depends really on attributes. So so you can see there, and do make a note now, considerations that will decrease the baseline qualifying period. I've noted those now. Note, only one of the listed considerations, i.e. the one that causes the largest increase, would be applied in the case of any single application. I'll take you through that in a moment because it's a little bit confusing. This will take precedence over any reduction to the baseline. So basically, pwede nyo lang gamitin one of the, if you like, the attributes. You can't add, say, integration, you deduct -1 to the 10 years, and then contribution -7. You choose one, okay? And obviously you would choose the biggest one because you want to lessen the time from 10 years, yeah? So let me just take you through that. Let's apply it, yeah? So tingnan natin. For example, skilled worker. No, this is a big concern, I know, for a lot of skilled workers. As I say, nurses, carers nga, teachers. No, kung nandito kayo, ang visa nyo nga under the skilled worker route. At the moment, 5 years. But if the government actually implement these changes, let's have a look at that. No, so sabihin natin nandito kayo as a nurse, right? So if you look at table 2, kind of midway down, makikita nyo doon, contribution, applicant has been employed in a specified public service occupation for 5 years. No? So sabihin natin nurse kayo, dumating nga kayo dito, you are nearly 5 years nga. So if this changes according to the government, the starting point is 10 years. But because you're a nurse, sabi nila, pwede niyong ikaltas, you can decrease it because you are in a specified public service occupation for 5 years. So minus 5 years, you can see the adjustment to the baseline qualifying period. And again, this is from the Home Office nga. So sabihin natin nurse kayo. So ibig sabihin, if you're a nurse, you deduct 5 years from the baseline of 10 years nga. So kailangan ipakita, total, 5 years. So it doesn't really change, you know, from before. Yeah. Now, if you look at, say, some attributes. So sabihin natin, let me have a look here. All right. Go up a few. So if you have a look at the second box nga, no? Applicant has earned a taxable income of £125,140 for 3 years immediately prior to applying for settlement. Big amount, £125,140 spanning for the 3 years immediately prior to applying for settlement. If that's your income nga, there are other things na kailangan yung tingnan, kailangan yung pakita nga. But if that is your income, subject to other to the other factors being complied with, then you can deduct according to the Home Office table nga 7 years. So at the moment, that may well be, let's say, global talent or skilled worker, because they don't actually specify it has to be a certain kind of job. It could be also your spouse, you know? But you are you're high earning, you know? So so if you are earning that amount, you earned that amount over the last 3 years, let's say spouse visa nga kayo, no? On the face of it, yeah, you can deduct 3 years. So rather than having to show, say, currently 5 years, or even later on still 5 years because you're a spouse nga, you actually would be, according to them, if you are a high earner, you would be able to deduct 7 years from the baseline, which means rather than showing 5 years, you would need to show 3 years. Okay, interesting, huh? But they're obviously focusing on people who are high earners. Now, let's say you are earning but kalahati nga, no, a bit less. Sabihin natin 50,000. So after that, you can see in that table, so applicant has earned taxable income of £50,270 for 3 years immediately prior to applying for settlement. So sabihin natin, you're here as, again, under tier 2. So you can deduct 5 years, which means you're in the same boat. You know? If you're here on the skilled worker route, that means that you still need to show 5 years, but as I say, 50,000 kailangan pakita. So it is, it benefits some, especially those who have special skills, but and those who earn quite a bit of money. No, 125,000. Actually, in London, it's probably not unusual. For some, or for a few, okay, £125,140. So it's actually, for some, especially those who are here and who are earning quite well, it is a positive because they need to show a bit less. No? Now, so the same thing. So for those people who are here on the as global talent worker or innovator, founder, minus 7 years. Okay, so again, they're 3 years under global talent. I mean, at the moment, it's anything between 3 to 5 years the money. So it doesn't. They're clearly looking. They're clearly saying, okay, if you're earning a lot of money or you have special skills, it will actually going to potentially lessen the amount of time you need to show in order to succeed with indefinite leave to remain. And for some who are, say, nurses nga, or carers, let's say, I don't know if carers actually would be considered, a specified public service. They should be, but nurses certainly are going to be. That's actually given us an example nga. So there, it probably will not make any difference. So it would still be 5 years. So kung nag-aalala nga kayo, nandito kayo, nag-aalala kayo, baka dagdagan nga nila, hindi it would then be not 5 years, but rather, nabalitaan ko din, someone was saying, 15 years. I don't really know where they're getting the 15 years from, but anyway, so as a starting point, baseline has 10 years. So it's it may be that for a fair amount of people who are here nga, either properly working or came in as a spouse quite properly nga din, or are earning money, it may be that either makes no difference, or it could be that it's a bit less. Okay? So it's difficult to say at the moment nga kung anong gagawin nga nila. Also, the what they call transitional provisions has not been published yet. I mean, I think we'll probably hear about that in March, once they've had the time to consider the gone on with the consultation. So it's difficult to say whether all of this will be implemented. I suspect a big chunk will be implemented. I would guess, because I think it's probably, I mean, politically, that's probably where they want to go also. But what I'm getting at is, for a big part of it could be that it doesn't make any difference now. Now, who are, if you like, the losers in this, or proposed losers now? Who will be affected negatively? Let's have a look at that also. Okay, so I've kind of given you some good news, if not. Maybe it doesn't make any difference to you, or it could even be that it's a positive thing, the change, subject of course to what they say in relation to people who are already here and whether transitional provisions will apply. So are they gonna, kung nandito na kayo, transitional provisions is simply legal speak with that means yung bang lumang batas ang titignan nga nila, o yung panibago ba, no? They haven't actually said if there are transitional provisions, or if it is coming to play in April, whether it's applicable from April to everyone. Difficult to say. But let's have a look at those people who will likely be, if this is implemented, who will be negatively affected. So let me just show you table 3. So sandali nga, tingnan ko nga ito. So this also concerns, of course, people who are here, either entered the UK illegally or have overstayed. So let me just see if I can find table 3, because I've now, let me just have a look. Let me see. Sandali. Table 3. Okay. Now, ito, right? So, I've noted in purple the top bit. So, makita niyo dyan, no? Proposed changes to ILR, indefinite leave to remain. A baseline will be 10 years, but this can be adjusted, no? If the applicant satisfies certain attributes. No, table 3. This are more, if you like, what would lead them to increase rather than decrease. So let me just take you through that. So considerations that will increase the baseline qualifying period, so the 10 years, no? So more than 10 years, okay, would be as follows. And again, only one if you like, attribute can be applied. So it's not that, okay, you get money, you got money from the government and you also entered illegally. So rather than 20 years, it becomes 25 years. No, they will apply the highest one, but they will only apply one. So let me take you through that. So, nandito kayo, no? Applicant has been in receipt of public funds, so money from the government nga, for less than 12 months during route to settlement. So sabihin natin, you're here on a spousal visa, no? I mean, you shouldn't be getting money from the government if you're on a spouse visa. Anyway, but sabihin natin you're getting money from the government nga. Now, sabi nila dito, if you've been getting public funds for less than 12 months, they will add 5 years. So that means that the baseline is 10 years. They will add 5 years, 15 years. Okay? That would be the issue. And this you will see, this will take precedence over any reduction to the baseline. So this is what they will apply first. So it's not that they kind of cancel each other out. Ito muna titingnan nila. Now, if you've been in receipt of public funds for more than 12 months, no, during route to settlement, they add 10 years. So rather than 10 years, you add another 10 years. So that's 20 years. Yeah. If you're getting more, if you get receiving public funds for more than say 12 months. No? Now, entry and residence, right? Applicant arrived in the UK illegally. So sabihin natin, you came via a boat, no? Small boat or lorry, that sort of thing. And what do they say? They add 20 years. 20 years to the baseline being 10 years, which means it's 30 years. 30 years. Okay? Now, it is going to concern a fair few people. Actually, I know a few people who may well be concerned with this. Then let me take you through the rest. No, applicant entered the UK on a visit visa. Sabihin natin, visit visa kayo dito, tapos paso na yung visa nyo, you overstayed, and then you entered you then regularized it either as under partner route or kaya parent route, So you became an overstayer having entered the UK with a visit visa. At the moment, the proposal is they will add also 20 years. So the baseline being 10 years, they then add 20 years. So that's 30 years. At the moment, it seems that's what's proposed. And then entry and residence, applicant has overstayed a permission for 6 months or more. Again, 20 years. So those of you, those who entered the UK, sabihin natin pumasok kayo dito, estudyante nga kayo pumasok, tapos napasong ang visa nyo, you overstayed for more than 6 months. At the moment, they say plus 20 years on top. So as much as it can decrease from 10 years being the baseline, it can also increase 10 years being the baseline. And you will see, they're looking at people who entered the UK illegally, or those who overstayed, or those people who are getting benefits for either less than 12 months or more than 12 months. So you can see where they're coming from. So that, obviously, they're huge numbers. So at the moment, if you go back to table 1, you under, say, discretionary leave to remain, or indeed discretionary leave to remain ang visa nyo, you can see there is 10 years. And sometimes it's because you entered the UK, wala napasok ang visa. So at the moment, rather than 10 years, they're saying plus 20 years. So to get to indefinite leave to remain, it would be plus 20 years. Now, and they've said there, this will take precedence over any reduction to the baseline. Now, so this will concern quite a few people nga, no? So kung meron kayong background, immigration background nga. It's unclear though, what other issues would they take into account. So for example, sabihin natin nandito kayo, but then you actually decide you're going back and sabihin natin babalik kayo sa atin, babalik nga kayo dito quite properly as a spouse. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Yung background nyo ba, which one do they apply? Because you have an immigration background. Does that mean because you left the country, you're coming back in? Na yung essentially it's the spousal route, so it's effectively 5 years, or because you have an immigration background, does that mean it's 20 years now because of the immigration background? It's difficult to say. That will need to be that will need to be dealt with, provided with more details nga. So lots of things are still nga outstanding, including yung mga taong nandito na, are they going to get leave to remain under the under transitional provisions? So different law will apply, or the old law will apply because they're already in the UK. Is this going to only apply to those who are coming into the United Kingdom or are now making applications on something else? Nandito na nga sila. So it's difficult at the moment to provide you with any certainty. Anong ibig sabihin nito? As regards people who are already here, because there's nothing at the moment, nothing certain, no, as regards transitional provisions. So what I say to you would be guessing, really. Is it going to, how is it going to affect people who are already here? I mean, I suspect it will probably, and this very much is just my suspicion is, I suspect they will say that it will apply now, no, rather than a transitional provisions, because they will probably want to make it clear, no, politically nga, that they're being tough on immigration, and it's to deter, if you like, no, people now breaching immigration conditions. But yung nga, that is my suspicion. We'll find out soon enough. I suspect nga na we'll get I hope at least, no, we get more details about this between now and March. At the moment, when I'm reading around nga, they think it may be implemented as early as April. Tingnan natin, no? Now, for those of you nga who can apply now, ang payo ko, apply now. Okay? Because it's, unless you are in the categories of, you know, you're earning quite a bit, or you have certain skills, like so you're within the global talent nga, unless you're in those categories nga, it probably is more either it doesn't really make any difference, or it's negative potentially, especially kung nandito nga kayo, you're here on a discretionary leave to remain, you have an immigration background. Ang payo ko, if you can apply, do it now. Okay. Same goes for citizenship, no? So you got indefinite leave to remain, and you're making an application for naturalization to become British. We obviously that's not what we're dealing with today. But again, if you can make an application now for naturalization, you should do that. Do not delay. No. If the only thing that's stopping you from making the application is the life in the UK test, which is quite difficult, no. Try your best. I know it's difficult, and it's the sometimes try as you might, no, it's quite difficult because it's a different way of thinking. But if you can, as I say, I would urge you to make the application. No? So I hope that's helpful to you. I know it's going to worry some people, but I hope it also shows nga that with some people it doesn't make any difference. Okay, gaano mag-alala, because they've already said, okay, it's 10 years the baseline, but you deduct 5 years because you entered the United Kingdom as a spouse, which means it doesn't make any difference. It's still 5 years. So, so kung meron kayong mga kilala, mga kamag-anak nga, kaibigan, that you think, they're worried about this, the indefinite leave to remain, point them to our direction nga, and hopefully this makes them feel a bit better. And if it doesn't make them feel better because they're on the other side, likely to be increased, then at least alam nila, okay, if I can, make every effort nga, I will keep you informed as much as I can about these changes, because obviously it's of concern to an awful lot of people. And this will likely happen in the next few months. So February na po tayo ngayon, no? So March, we'll probably hear something in March, probably a few more details, including when it's likely to be put into play. I know they're quite keen to put in play soon. So it could be as soon as April, which means what? That's a couple of months. Wow, a couple of months. Anyway, I hope that's of help and that's of interest to you. As I say, sharing is caring. So by all means, share. Now, let me just see if we can deal with the questions before we say the bati, because there are fair few questions. Again, big topics, no? Pag-usapan natin. So let me have a look at the questions.